Serious, what's a common life pro tip that is actually bad advice? Just be yourself, you're perfect just the way you are and never let anyone change you. Are double-edged swords preventing many people from growing out of horrid habits or bad personality traits. If a lot of people are telling you to change your behavior, chances are you're gonna freak up your life if you don't pay attention. Yes, especially the thing about change. People seem to have this idea that change is this bad thing when not changing can lead to stagnation. Sometimes change isn't bad, especially if you learn and become a better person and become more you. We are all perfectly imperfect. I kind of have no excuses drilled into me, but sometimes there are legit reasons why you can't do something. Also, not everything has a Hollywood ending. Sometimes you can't do something. Sometimes you fail and have to give up. Being realistic about that isn't a bad thing. My parents drilled this into me, so when I got extremely stressed and depressed in school, instead of telling teachers, hey, I am not in a great mental state, can I have an extra day, I just didn't do it and nearly failed half my classes. Looks don't matter. No matter how confident you are with yourself, it is inevitable that people will judge you based on your appearance. You shouldn't judge a person on their looks, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of people will, and you need to adapt to that. You should do some math before accepting a raise, because it might put you in the next tax bracket and you actually take home less money. That's not how tax brackets work. Let's say the first tax bracket is $10,000 at 10%. That means you fork over $1,000 to Uncle Sam and take home $9,000. For the sake of simplicity, let's assume the next tax bracket is 20%. You are offered a raise of $500, making your total income $10,500. This does not mean the entire $10,500 is taxed at the 20% rate. That first $10,000 is taxed at 10%. Then the remaining $500 in the next tax bracket is taxed at 20%, which is $100. Out of that $10,500, you fork over $1,100 and take home $9,400. You take home $400 more. Never reject a raise just because it puts you in the next tax bracket. There is no such thing as taking home less money because you are in a higher tax bracket. Similar to people buying things because they can write it off on their taxes. Doesn't mean it's free, just means you don't pay taxes on that money. Just be happy or look on the bright side. Great overall advice, but sometimes in the moment, it can be the absolute worst. Sometimes things just suck and we want to break down and cry. That's okay. We shouldn't be talked out of those emotions when we're upset and obviously feeling low. If you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. Many people use this advice thinking they'll be able to easily coast through life and are shocked when they have to face the reality of it being an actual job. When you do something that you love as a career rather than as a hobby, it becomes much more serious and has more responsibilities. Sometimes it can even lead to you hating the thing you used to love. This isn't to discourage anyone who wants to pursue a career in something they enjoy, like a photographer or a chef. If you want to have a career doing something you enjoy, that's great. But you have to go in knowing that it won't be all sunshine and rainbows 100% of the time. There will be difficulties from time to time and you won't have the same amount of freedom that you used to have when it was just a hobby. As long as you go in knowing that and are willing to adapt and work hard, you'll be fine. There's a joke among academics. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life because your field isn't hiring. Absolutely do save birds that fell out of their nests. You're letting them die if you don't. Their mom doesn't give a single crap about their smell, so please save them. Yes, the birds won't touch a baby that smells like a human thing is a total myth. However, just be sure that the baby isn't a healthy fledgling first. It's normal and necessary for a fledgling to be on the ground while they're still learning to fly. But a nestling that's not in the nest definitely needs help, even if it's just to put them back in the nest they fell from. Never go to bed angry. Sometimes you just need some time to chill the frick out and ruminate in why you're angry. Constantly talking about everything is what they show on TV. But if you don't have time to process your feelings, you can just end up fighting even more than if you just took a day to chill. Everyone in my life knows me as a really chill person who never gets angry. But the truth is that I do get angry. I just take a rage nap when it happens, lol. Every single time. I wake up with a clearer head and calmer disposition. Play hard to get. Most of the time, playing hard to get just guarantees that both of you are going to end up alone. The dating world is competitive and few people have the time to constantly pursue someone who is not demonstrating any interest. Stop playing these silly games and show a little interest back. You will be giving yourself many more opportunities with people you otherwise might have missed out on. If someone plays hard to get, I just assume they're gonna be a pain in the butt partner and move on. All that unnecessary drama will seriously cut into my happy and stable life. Ignore the bullies and they'll stop. This advice makes me want to slap a bee. You are giving them and everyone who sees it permission. Silence is acceptance. That is the real advice. In school, there is no winning against the bullies. You can't ignore them and you can't fight them. You just do your time until it's over. Whenever a kid asks me about overcoming bullies, I just change the subject and think just don't kill yourself because of these dongs. You can do anything that you put your mind to. No, you can't. Not everyone is good at everything, and the sooner you make peace with your own limitations, the more successful you'll become. Tip your head back to stop a nosebleed. Don't do that. Tip your head slightly forward with a kerchief pressed under your nose and allow the blood to clot. EMT here. Little side note, if you tilt your head back, you can also aspirate the blood, and then you have two problems. I think the pursuit for perfection, especially in the age of social media, aiming for an ideal 8 hours of sleep, all fresh veg fruit whole grain diet, perfect study and work habits with Instagram shots of color-coded notes, expensive skincare routine, 1.5 L of water a day, getting up at 5 AM for a run, abstaining from all vices. It's good to strive to be the best version of yourself, but the unnecessary pressure to excel at all these things seem detrimental more than anything else. I put a lot of time effort into work and am good at my job. I have great physical and mental health. If I want to eat donuts with vodka shots at 11 PM, or stay up watching Bob's Burgers until 2 AM, or skip my run and head to work, I should be able to do that sometimes. Wellness is not a competition, and an elastic band stretched far enough will snap. Skip my run and head to work implies that you usually wake up early and go running before work. That is impressive and dang right you deserve vodka and donuts sometimes. It's all about balance. Also, I feel like a lot of the perfect fitness health gurus on Insta probably have their vodka and donut moments too, but that's not what they're gonna be posting pics of. There's no real catchy way to put it, but the sentiment that your life revolves around your job. You don't have to have a career or be ultra successful in your field. You just have to have a job that lets you earn enough money to enjoy your life and achieve all the things you want to do outside of work. Or rather, work to live, don't live to work. Travel while you're young and not tied down. While it's great if you can afford it, it has been offered in my experience chiefly by people who have folks to fall back on. Traveling the world until you are broke is not a good life pro tip if you get stranded with no one to bail you out at the end. Opposites attract. Very bad idea. Differences may seem exciting at first. However, seeing how different you are over time can create resentment and heartache. We are humans, not magnets. Just find someone with a lot in common. You don't cover all bases, just counteract each other. Just come out. Even if your parents hate you, it's better than being someone you're not. No. Come out when it's safe. When you have somewhere else to live, you've faked it for this long. You can do a little longer and stay alive. It sucks. It hurts. It's a B and unfair. But you'll live. Some parents realize they're jerks and become accepting. Some realize they were too accepting and outright murder their child. Be safe. Being outed early was horrid and made life a living heck for years. I deeply regret it to this day. It's okay to lie about this and it really isn't their business anyway. Just do the work. Not horrible advice, but incomplete. I find that when people are stuck in life, it's often because they are doing the wrong kind of work. Work that's solitary, unmotivated, not strategic. Instead, I encourage people to join the community that is associated with the work they want to do. If you want to be a comedian or a filmmaker like me, hanging out at a show that you like, or collaborating with other creators, and building relationships there, and feeding those relationships just as often as you're doing the work will ultimately be more beneficial. At some point in your 20s most people realize it's not as much about what you know, or even what you do, it's about who you know. Who you know also has way more of an impact on your overall happiness. I prefer work smarter, not harder. Their family. Let it go. My dad, who is a doctor, watched as I got a viral infection that spread to my brain and I went blind and deaf. He called my mom and said I'd be dead by the time he got home from work the next day. My sister, who hasn't spoken to him since middle school, had to break into his house, find me, call 911. Dad was mad that she broke in, said nothing about me. Practice makes perfect. No, it doesn't. Practice makes permanent. If you continuously repeat shoddy work, you'll just become very efficient at making that shoddy work, and it'll be hard for you to ever improve. Practice along with introspection, analysis, and feedback makes perfect. My old gym teacher used to say, practice makes progress, because nobody's perfect, and I think that's way better than just practice makes perfect. Always listen to your elders, and old people are smarter, wiser. I don't care who you are, what relationship I have with you, or especially how old you are, anyone can be a dumbass. If you work harder than everyone else, you'll always get what you want. Just know, sometimes crap happens. Hard work doesn't guarantee success. Some people, though untalented and lazy, cruise through life, and some people who work hard every single day struggle to make ends meet. There's no guarantee that hard work will get you to where you want to be. I had an old boss say, don't confuse hard work with getting results. This was after a colleague complained about how hard he worked on a project that was ultimately cancelled because it was ineffective. You need to make a family so you won't end up alone. Well, you will end up alone surrounded by people if you don't know how to be there for you. My mom made a family and told me I would take care of her when she's old. She also told me I have to have children or else I'll die alone. All of us left her in one way or another, and I'm not going to have children. There was a quote that was thrown around a lot. It was something like a ship only sinks when it lets water in, meaning if you don't let negativity get to you, you'll be fine. It's total bull. Of course you can't let one single negative comment destroy your confidence, but I've always thought this could easily be misunderstood and used to shame people who are depressed because they have a lot of crap going on in their lives. If you're surrounded by negativity, it will get to you sooner or later, and there is no shame in that. It's not your fault. A more accurate metaphor would be a ship that's letting water in will still sink if you fail to acknowledge it. If you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. No matter what career you choose, no matter how fortunate you are, there's going to be parts of what you do that are going to be annoying, unpleasant, and difficult. And there's no guarantee that doing something for fun is going to save fun when you've got to do it because you need to pay rent. Pick a career based on what you're good at and what people value. You're selling your time. From your perspective, you are selling your time. Yeah, people aren't buying your time though. They're buying the value you offer and the time they spend with you. You're perfect the way you are. No, you're not. No one is. You should always strive to grow and become a better you. I get it's encouraging for those who struggle with their identity, but working in schools, I've seen way too many students who think that means there is no room for growth. Perfect is an abstract concept that can never be attained by any person. Anyone who says they're perfect is a liar. A bad workman always blames his tool. Sometimes the thing you're using is the problem, rather than it being user error, and sometimes practice isn't enough to make up the shortfall. I think the key to that saying is the word always. I don't see a problem with this saying. Anything that advises you to be a dong to someone who seemingly doesn't deserve it. Be macho. Women love that crap. Don't worry about your friend that says you're mean. He's a P. Your employer will appreciate you being aggressive and brutish. As a general rule, being a dong is rarely a good idea. It sucks how dudes constantly are being told to treat people like crap. Kindness is underrated. You can't run away from your problems, bloom where you're planted. Not always bad advice, but sometimes you absolutely do need to leave a toxic environment before your life can improve. If your flowers aren't thriving, you change the soil, not the plants kind of girl myself. That blood is thicker than water. Sometimes the family you choose, friends are better for you than the family you were born into. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Absolutely wrong and super self-centered. At our worst, we're all super crappy and our loved ones don't deserve that. Some may not be able to handle us at our worst due to their own life stress and mental health conditions. This is just a recipe for pushing important people away. Two ways to interpret. Either it's a Karen saying that, and I agree with your assessment that is not okay, or it's a person who, when going through something like financial or emotional hardships, those loved ones who were not there to support us, but turn around and you win the lottery, now want a cut. Excuse bad grammar. I'm not really thinking right now. Not posted on Reddit much, but almost any boomer advice is useless in 2020. Just go up to the manager, shake their hand, and ask for a job. They will think you are weird and tell you to apply online. Keep asking out that love interest over and over. You'll wear them down. Borders on stalking and is likely a giant waste of time that won't turn into a lasting relationship. Pull up your bootstraps and work a part-time job to pay for college or home. College and homes have gotten markedly more expensive and wages have stagnated for the past 30 years. That third bullet is the most annoying advice I frequently hear older people give to younger people. The only way I'll be able to afford a house is this impending market crash that's hitting in the next 1-2 years. And college doesn't cost 2 bottle caps and some pocket lint like it did back in the day. Really grinds my gears. Ignore what others think of you. Human interaction is a cornerstone of our existence, and depending on how well you're liked among others determines the relative ease of how well you're able to get through life. Being mindful of others and their feelings should inform your thoughts and actions to a certain extent. There are obviously exceptions, but to simply outright ignore everybody and just maintain your course no matter what is not good advice. I think lots of people take ignore what others think of you too literally when it's meant to be more of a remain unbothered at people's unnecessary negative opinions of you. Lots of buttholes in the world use this phrase as a crutch to ignore the obvious attempts to hint that they're an butthole. Telling kids to follow your dreams and you can be anything if you work hard enough. Sometimes you need to admit that even if something is your dream and you're willing to work for it, you may not have the necessary talent you need to succeed and should just keep it as a hobby. Hard work is important, but so is natural ability. I have a friend with dreams of being a successful actress. Her parents keep telling her if she believes then she can do it and she has talent and should follow her heart. While she's not bad, she's not great. She couldn't get into drama school, went to university to do something else and graduated with a poor grade because she spent all of her time focusing on the drama society. Now she's been in and out of service jobs still trying audition after audition with almost no success. Instead she could have been building a career in another field and joined an amateur dramatic group to maintain her love for it while not wasting her life chasing an impossible dream. Plus there's the whole issue of it being a very difficult, unstable job where you need connections to go far. I wanted to act, then I realized I wouldn't survive that world, so now I wanna teach theater. I still get to do what I love, but I'll also help people find their passion, and I couldn't be famous but maybe I can help someone else become famous. If you can't love yourself you can't love someone else. Makes everyone with any mental illness feel unlovable and hopeless. Never change a running system. Heard it so many times at work it almost makes me vomit when hearing it. It's just an excuse for being too lazy to make something better even a tiny little bit cause it works so far, why should I change something? Always forgive, love family, screw that. If family has done wrong by you, you have every right as a victim to protect yourself, especially if it involves confrontation or simply walking away. They are just people. Blood doesn't justify anything. Follow your heart. We have a brain for a reason. Our hearts are fickle and what may seem like love may just be infatuation, etc. Understanding what you are feeling and why is important, as well as realizing that some commitments are worth it to push through the difficult times when our hearts aren't in it. To quote a graduation speech, follow your heart, but take your brain along with you. If a girl has declined to go out with you, that means you stop asking her. It's not her playing hard to get. She just isn't interested, unless she surprises you and says otherwise. So don't follow the if she says no. You've just got to keep trying bulls. Just respect her boundaries. It's actually just old advice. Many years ago women were told to turn every man down the first time or they were W. So it means men had to ask multiple times. It was just the way it was. Now it would be sexual harassment. If a boy is mean to you, it means he likes you. No, it means he's likely a bully and leads women to staying in abusive relationships because he loves me. When people are like, if you're unhappy, change your situation, quit your job, move to a new state, cut off all your relationships and live in your car, you can completely change your life at any time. Except there are a lot of financial barriers and a lot of very good reasons to not drive across the country and be homeless with no plan. And aside from that, you really should think through big life-changing decisions, especially if they involve leaving a job, a town, a relationship, whatever. Because sometimes you find out what you really need to do is to stay and work things out. And if you just randomly up and leave without even giving it a thought, you may never get the chance to do that. Not saying risks don't pay off sometimes. And I'm not saying you can't change situations that make you miserable. But just doing whatever you want without making a plan and putting thought to it rarely works out well. Figure out what makes you miserable, why it makes you miserable, then plan to change it based on what you're able to do. People be acting like it's a movie and everyone has a happy ending. No, that's not how it works. You can be anything you wanna be. No, you can't. People with money could be anything they wanna be. The rest of us probably have to work really hard to maybe attain our goals if we are lucky. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.